Watch from a little closer than usual, you will get an enhanced 3D effect. And of course, also, if you are taping our coverage, if you'll save your glasses with your videotape, you'll have many years of viewing enjoyment.
Now, we have special camera angles which enhance the 3D effect. And actually, if you're not watching in 3D, you'll not notice a difference in the picture. It will be the same fine quality picture Fox always has, but it also will enhance the parade because of these camera angles. But you still have time, because we're going to repeat the parade at 10:30 this morning and again at 6 o'clock tonight, and you can watch those repeat performances also in 3D. So send Junior down to Vaughn's right now and get some of these glasses. You know, the whole world even looks better, a new dimension on Fox 11. Gerald, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Bob.
Well, I think if I turn this way, I may see in 3D, jumping right out of the screen, Nancy, is that you? Happy New Year. You look great.
Happy New Year to you, too. It's very nice to be here at this Tournament of Roses parade. This float from Mobile, Alabama, in cooperation with Alhambra, California, floats from all over the nation, and people from all over the world enjoy our Tournament of Roses parade. Isn't it nice, Bob Braun, that it is ours?
It is, Nancy, and you look so good in 3D. You look wonderful.
Can you believe the roses?
Yeah, see if we can, you look close enough to give a good morning kiss.
Bob Braun, I wish you Happy New Year and all of our friends. And now Cindy Van Doore, we don't want them to go anyplace. They should sit still for the next coverage on KTTV of the Tournament of Roses parade.
Yes, indeed, Nancy Nelson. I want to tell you how grateful I am to have had the opportunity to be here today. This is my first time hosting this pre-parade show. I feel like a kid. It is a magical day to be out here in Pasadena, and you've got the best seats in the house. The grown-up in me finds it absolutely awesome how they get this parade together. It is beautiful. I was at the Rose Palace yesterday and watched them put the flowers on the floats. What a great job they do. Credit goes to the volunteers, also to the technicians and management of KTTV to put this together. Terrific. Tournament tradition celebrates family and fun, so I'm here with my daughter, and we're going to have fun. You settle in with your families for lots of fun. You want to say Happy New Year?
Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year to you, Bill and Mary, up in the booth.
Cindy, thank you, and the same to you and your daughter. Enjoy the parade. It's the centennial. Finally has arrived.
Absolutely. I don't care what age you are. Happy New Year, because it's going to be exciting today. The 100th Tournament of Roses parade. And you get to enjoy it, of course, as you've been told, in 3D on Channel 11. And, Mary, we don't interrupt for commercials, so you'll see all of it.
Well, the excitement is mounting down on the streets. We have a bunch of Michigan fans right across the street, and they've been doing their Michigan cheers. We're just waiting for the USC band and cheerleaders to come by.
Then you'll begin to hear from the hometown crowd, right?
That's right, but it's very exciting, everybody.
Fox Television is proud to present live the centennial edition of the Tournament of Roses Parade. For the first time in 3D.
Live from Pasadena, California, it's the opening salute to the Centennial Tournament of Roses Parade, honoring the 100th year of the Pasadena Tournament of Roses Association, and a day to be filled with excitement. Celebrate and commemorate with us the good times of the Centennial. Citrus College singers and dancers from Glendora, California, ladies and gentlemen, add their welcome and greetings to the Centennial Opening Salute. Tournament of Roses President Mr. John H. Bigger III and the 1989 Grand Marshal, Shirley Temple Black.
Thank you. Welcome to this opening salute commemorating the centennial of the Pasadena Tournament of Roses. 100 years ago, the citizens of Pasadena decorated their carriages and horses with roses and other fresh flowers and ventured out to celebrate what was later to be called the Tournament of Roses. Now, a century later, a small hometown parade has grown into an international spectacular with a worldwide television audience of more than 350 million people. I'm sure it has surpassed the wildest dreams of our founders. The Tournament of Roses could not happen each year without the dedication of our 875 active volunteer members who annually give countless hours of their time to assure its success. I had the honor of joining the Tournament of Roses 29 years ago, the year after my father served as president. Together we have looked forward to today's celebration for a long time. And just to prove that history does repeat itself, it is a real pleasure for me to present our 1989 Grand Marshal, who is herself celebrating her 50th anniversary as Grand Marshal of the Tournament of Roses. Please welcome Shirley Temple Black.
Thank you, Jack. Hi, everybody. You know, so many fond memories are with me here today. I was in this exact spot on this same street in 1939, and I remember so well riding on a float as the youngest Grand Marshal in tournament history at the age of 10. As President Bigger said, much has happened over the years, but I'm so proud and honored to have been invited back again to take part in this centennial celebration. It's not often that one is able to relive a highlight of one's life, but I'm here today and I wish all of you a super new year and a very, very special wish to enjoy the 100th Tournament of Roses with us. Happy New Year!
Happy 1989, everyone, and continue to enjoy this opening salute to America's New Year's celebration, the Tournament of Roses Centennial.
I'm a kid that's all the candy, I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, I'm glad I am. So Uncle Sam, I'm a real life Yankee Doodle, name my name and thing and food, just like Mr. Coffee. I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, a Yankee Doodle to a time. Oh, kid, I have to go my Uncle Sam's for another for my July. I've got a Yankee Doodle sweetheart. I'm his Yankee Doodle Jones. Yankee Doodle came to London just to ride a pony. I am the Yankee Doodle. I am the Yankee Doodle. I am the Yankee Doodle boy. There's a feeling comes to stealing and it sets my brain a reeling when I'm listening to the music of a military band. Yankee Doodle, like Yankee Doodle, simply sets me up. My doodle is that makes me out. It's something that no one can understand. For I am blue, I am for you. Honest, you're a grand old flag. You're a grand old flag. You're a high-flying flag. And forever in peace may you reign. You're the emperor of the land I love, the whole of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true of your empire.
everybody. It's almost time for the parade to start, and we haven't settled on what song we're gonna do.
What about Everything's Coming Up Roses? That's appropriate, isn't it?
No, not this time. They did it last year. How about I Love a Parade? Oh, hey, we better decide or we're in real trouble with the Rose Parade Committee. Come on, think of something, quick.
Did you hear that? It's 76 trombones. Perfect opening for the parade. Hey, let's give it a try to make sure we've got it.
76 trombones led the big parade, 110 cornets close at hand. They were full of love and rose, of the finest virtuosos, the people everywhere to stand.
Okay, guys, stop trying to pull a fast one. We count only 66 trombones, and you can't start the parade without 10 more.
Yeah, that's it. It's never Now you got it!
Hey, it's parade time! And what better way to start than with 76 trombones, performed by the 300 members of the Los Angeles Unified All-District Band, directed by Don Dustin and Frank Harris. And stepping off in the Centennial Tournament of Roses, happy 1989! Happy birthday, tournament, and happy day, everyone!
Well, there you have it. The Centennial Parade is about to begin. Just think, 100 years of a glorious tradition, and we couldn't have more picture-perfect weather for this morning.
It's typical Southern California, folks.
300 outstanding musicians from 49 Los Angeles high schools. These students composed the Los Angeles Unified All-District High School Honor Band. There you see them coming around the corner. Band directors Donald J. Dustin and Frank Harris strike up an all-star tradition that began in 1972. So let's listen to the way LA plays. You know, Bill, we've been doing this for 6 years together, and as soon as I see the first unit come around that corner, I get such goosebumps. I can't stand it. After 6 years, it still happens.
Hey, how about after 42 years? And still just as excited and thrilled as I was that day in 1948.
1948.
That's right.
What were the band uniforms like then?
Well, the bands never were really just beginning to catch on to the way they did things back in the Midwest. They'd seen the Big Ten for the first time the year before, and the bands were trying to catch up in uniforms and music. Let's listen to these great people.
My family's sitting right down on the first row today. I'm afraid their toes are going to get trampled on.
Well, they're going to hear the trombones, all right.
They sure are. Of the Centennial Parade is called All Aboard. This first float of the 100th Tournament of Roses from the city of Carson is appropriately titled All Aboard for Pasadena.
That's right. And believe me, this is an authentic replica of an 1889 steam engine packed with excited passengers on their way to the very first Rose Parade. That brass engine is shining with straw flowers, chrysanthemums, and spices. The steel pistons and rods are covered with silver leaf. The big boiler is covered with carnations and poinsettias. By the way, this is Carson's 13th consecutive entry in the Tournament of Roses, and this year's decorating team got some help from Carson's sister city of Soka, Japan.
I guess what we have to say then, Bill, is full steam ahead.
Absolutely. You know, this just 100 years ago, the railroad first reached Pasadena. So the people coming from the east could get off right here.
Easy for you to say just 100 years ago since you've been here for 42 years.
Well, I'm a train nut, and I get a kick out of looking at something like this. And it really, with the flags and everything, it is so typical of the old photographs you see of early railroading here in the West that this really brings back a lot of memories, I'm sure, for lots of people.
Well, and just think, when the Valley Hunt Club started the parade 100 years ago, it was carriages covered with flowers and equestrian units right from the start. Lots of horses. Making their 40th appearance in the Rose Parade this time are the Long Beach Mounted Police. And you know what? For the first time ever in the history, women have been permitted in the ranks. It's about time, huh? Marshal Jerry Rout proudly welcomes his wife Carla, and so do we.
You are watching the Centennial Tournament of Roses Parade live from Pasadena. All the years I've seen the parade, that the first float out of the box turns out to be the sweepstakes winner, the major award that can be given to any float entered in this parade. And we guarantee you, you won't find a feast for the eyes like this Dixieland Dazzler called Mardi Gras, and sponsored by Unical Corporation. It's a little piece of the Big Easy packed with a dozen varieties of roses. Well, they sure did. They marched in with the sweepstakes win.
And here is our Grand Marshal, Shirley Temple Black. You know, A Century of Roses is this year's theme, and what better way to celebrate than to have the Grand Marshal, who was here 50 years ago as a 10-year-old. That was the first time, and she was the youngest Grand Marshal then. Of course, there's no way.
The next entry represents Lowry's Food's 17th appearance in the Tournament of Roses. It's called the First Parade, and it's pretty obvious if you look at it. Big Mama is covered with carnations, anthurium, walnut shells, Brazil nuts, and assorted fruits and vegetables.
If you'll pardon my saying so, it sounds like a Waldorf salad.
Hey, that wouldn't be all bad at this time of day.
Creatures or cavemen and women are not exactly dressed to suit the weather.
No, but I tell you, they look pretty cute to me compared to my idea of the cave persons. Hey, pulling up the rear is Mama's baby, Dino, who doesn't seem to be as enthused with all the hoopla as the rest of it.
Here are the Galloping Gossips, one of the few equestrian square dancing groups in the United States.
And here's another big winner. This is the Queen's Trophy Award going to Farmers Insurance. This Model A runs on, I guess you'd call it pedal power, Mary. First time a float is covered entirely in roses. 60,000 American Beauty roses, as a matter of fact. The float's entitled A Day to Remember and was inspired by a rosy road trip taken by last year's Grand Marshal, Gregory Peck, when he was a boy.
Second year of participation, the Salvation Army Tournament of Roses Band. As always, members march in standard uniforms, which means the ladies march in hose and high heels. No big deal, you say? Well, they have to do that for 5.5 miles.
Hey, even my feet hurt.
This year also marks the Salvation Army's own centennial celebration in Pasadena. 100 years of service to people in need. Christian soldiers.
They have played that all these years. I think it's so appropriate. Truly a brass band. There are no woodwinds down there, and all the instruments are made in the Salvation Army's own plant over in London.
Carnations and roses, literally thousands of petals decorating these floats, which take weeks and weeks. many of them volunteer hours. Of course, Verdi's famous opera was first performed in Cairo in 1871 to celebrate the opening of the Suez Canal. And this float certainly is a shining moment from the Dark Continent's first night at the opera.
Making their way down the boulevard, their ancestors helped dig almost a century ago. Here comes the American Donkey and Mule Society. By the way, those animals also helped excavate the Rose Bowl. So, you know, Mary, I really think they deserve to come down this street in style.
Those poor mules. Here to commemorate yet another centennial celebration, Bill, a celestial celebration from the Sierra Madre Rose Float Association, reflecting the 100-year history of the Mount Wilson Observatory, well known to those of us in Southern California. This float is built and decorated entirely by volunteers. At the front, we see a stubborn mule refusing to make that mountain trip. There's the Mount Wilson Observatory right there. Girl swinging from her swing and enjoying a nice cruise down Colorado Boulevard.
Charmaine Beth Shryock of Pasadena and her royal court, including Princess Carolyn Beach of Pasadena, Princess Raquel Ann Black of Pasadena, Princess Lacey Kiyoe Ndoye from South Pasadena, Princess Kristen Elizabeth Hanson of Arcadia, Princess Tomorrow Lee of Altadena, and Princess Heidi Griffin Marsh of Altadena. They ride a magic carpet over 2,000 roses, but it's hard to imagine a more pleasing variety than this year.
With their uniforms emblazoned with a bright rose emblem, it is the official band of the Tournament of Roses, namely the Pasadena Area Community College District Honor Band. Under the direction of Jim Arnwine, they're led by a very popular drum major, Dargent Springfield, on their 60th appearance, larger than ever, 309 members strong. Everything's coming up roses, Bill.
Hey, so appropriate. On the 100th anniversary of the Tournament of Roses, the band is right in tune.
Things are swell.
I'll tell you, the band has added a lot of extra activities. Those people in white tails out in front of the band and behind, flag girls, banner girls, bunting girls, everything. Balloon girls, I almost forgot them, Mary.
You know, last year I was thinking, how can they possibly top the parade? What are they going to do for the centennial celebration? And there does seem to be that extra flair and extra glitter this morning. And we really couldn't have a better day for this parade.
Oh, this is perfect. Of course, out here in Southern California, walks away with the theme trophy with this float. They state their belief that a Rose Queen is forever, and I think Mary and I most certainly agree.
Heralding the arrival of the Savior, these two impressive angels trumpet, "Rejoice, Jesus is the Christ," a message from the Lutheran Laymen's League. The angels are decorated with chrysanthemums, straw flowers, and carnation petals. And their beautiful wings keep light by using grape leaves and appropriately baby's breath. The angels are Renaissance in style and get their beautiful rich colors by combining dried and fresh flowers, which is a floral technique from the 50s.
Now, playing a march composed especially for them, here comes the Strongsville High School Marching Mustangs under the direction of Kenneth Mihalko. Now, they're from Cleveland, Ohio, and to raise the money to finance their trip, band members made and sold hoagie sandwiches. We're told that if all the hoagies sold were laid end to end, they'd cover more than the 5.5 miles of our parade route, and that's no baloney, Mary.
Oh, Bill, I don't believe you said that.
There's no baloney in a hoagie anyway, is there?
I don't think there is, as a matter of fact. Hang on, Sloopy. small to keep this clown down. He's hit the really big time in a float from the Sheraton Corporation called an International Celebration of Laughter. Making their 12th appearance in the Rose Parade is the Freddie Miller Arabian Group. Beauty and splendor are the hallmarks of the Arabian horse, and their strength and endurance are prized among breeders and horse lovers alike.
Happy New Year from Southern California. You're watching the 100th Annual Tournament of Roses Parade live from Pasadena. The cities of Alhambra, California and Mobile, Alabama combined their efforts on this float of Southern flavor called Carnival Mobile Style. Now, this is based on the Mediterranean festivals that date way back to the early 1700s. This float represents, by the way, Alhambra's 58th year in the Tournament of Roses. Towers of flame created from chrysanthemums and roses reach out from each corner.
Now, it was a big job, but somebody had to do it. The job of tournament president John H. Bigger III. He had to organize the 875 volunteers and 29 different committees. Here is the president. There's President Bigger and his family, wife Carol with him waving today.
5 members of the Owasso High School Marching Band. They tell me they are really dedicated musicians. They rehearse daily at 7 a.m. and again during regular school hours. By the way, they're just back from Ireland, where they placed first at Dublin's International Festival of Music.
Here from the city of Santa Ana, celebrating the Centennial of Roses, a colorful burst of fireworks. Celebrate our spirit, and this, the Medieval Times Dinner and Tournament Group from Buena Park, California. Recalling the early years of innovative float building, this entry from the city of Long Beach is called Those Were the Days. The peacock's plumage that you see on this float, created with chrysanthemums, roses, and cattleya orchids. And those revolving cascades in the back are made from sweet peas and Vanda orchids. There you see the incredibly beautiful peacock.
Well, I wonder if there's anybody left in the state of Michigan with all the yelling that you're hearing. The Michigan people who are here for the Rose Bowl game are cheering on their Wolverines because they're on their way to the Rose Bowl. They also, by the way, their float salutes the other Big Ten schools. And Michigan makes his 14th appearance in the Rose Bowl. Came here in 1902, beat Stanford 49-0. Came back in 1948, by the way, against USC, the team they faced this afternoon, beat them 49-0.
How do you remember all that, Bill?
42 years of memories.
My gosh. Well, I tell you, we're about drowned out right now because we have a lot of Wolverine fans right in front of us in the bleachers here and across the street. They were cheering earlier, and they're ecstatic right now. Of course, Michigan is going to play a lot more than football today. That's what you're hearing right now, all the way from Ann Arbor, Michigan, the Marching Wolverines. The school song.
Yeah, that's it. Anybody who's ever been to a Michigan football game recognizes that
tune. Invited just a few million of their closest friends to watch them speak their wedding vows on this Huntington Hotel's 74th Tournament of Roses entry. It's called appropriately Romance in California. And the bride and groom are Carrie Humphreys from Long Beach. She's a junior at Cal State. And her groom, Ron Sims, a student at Los Angeles College of Chiropractics in Whittier. They were the winners of the most romantic couple in Southern California. It was a contest, and this very special wedding ceremony was actually their grand prize. Kind of a unique way of saying I do. We certainly all wish the newlyweds a lifetime of health and happiness.
Well, this isn't chopsticks, but these people are from the Orient, from the city of Yokohama, Japan. Here is the Kanto Gakuin Marching Band. 115 Japanese musicians celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Rose Parade and their home city of Yokohama. They're led by Minoru Hiruka. Their appearance proves that the Rose Parade has truly become an international event.
America の皆さん、明けましておめでとうございます。私は関東学院マーチングバンドのリーダーの石井実です。 この度は第100回ローズパレードに参加、大変光栄に思います。
Their uniforms are beautiful and surprisingly Western looking.
I think the influence of, the Americans that have been there now for many years, some of the military installations there, they've seen how we do it over here, just like we in the West learned how to do it from the Big Ten schools when they sent their bands out here at the end of World War II.
Look at this one, Bill. This storyteller has the world on a string, literally. The world of children's stories, that is, from Rotary International's entry, Making Childhood Dreams Come True. Oh, is this a fantasy? What a day this must be for the mayor of Pasadena, celebrating with the granddaddy of all parades, 100 years. I mean, this is such a staunch American tradition.
Well, and he's fortunate. It turned out to be the 100th year. Hey, this band, here come the Devils, wearing their dress blues from the Empire State. This is the Huntington, New York High School Blue Devil Marching Band. New York State can be very proud of these young people. They make great representatives.
Not to mention the colorful drill team with that glittering, beautiful, brilliant blue. Just imagine, folks, if you're watching, you are one of an estimated 300 million people from more than 60 countries around the world enjoying this Centennial Celebration Parade.
Hi, I'm Kevin Callahan from the Huntington High School Band in New York. Happy New Year to Mom, Dad, and the arcade crew.
Was held all these years.
Say they're taking flight from the float that's coming along here. White doves being released from the float that says wartime is wasted time. This is the entry from Hilton Conrad International called In Pursuit of World Peace. It honors the efforts of peacemakers around the globe. Now the eagle delivers the good news of goodwill toward men on wings of chrysanthemums and fig leaves. The gardens below are filled with orchids and red roses. And the ladies riding up at the front, nearest you is Mrs. America, Jennifer Klein. Far side from you, Mrs. World, Pamela Nail.
And look at the globe, all of gorgeous, brilliant colors that you're seeing at home in 3D for those of you who are in Washington, San Diego, and Los Angeles. And here is an exquisite float entered by China Air, as well as the winner of the international trophy this year. Chinese Lantern Festival is what you're looking at, making its way down Colorado Boulevard, a giant good luck charm. China Airlines has given us this entry featuring a guardian lion, which is a symbol of good luck in Chinese legend. It's called A Time to Remember, and transforms from a carriage design similar to those used in the very first parade to a colorful carnival celebration using the latest in float building technology.
Los Angeles broadcasting personality George Putnam. He's been a part of the Rose Parade for 35 years. Other riders, there's Buzz Carson that you know from the entertainment world, John Church, Bill Nolte.
We certainly hope you're enjoying the 100th annual Tournament of Roses Parade live from Pasadena. Boy, here's one for the history books, Bill. The winged horse Pegasus galloping through the ages, carrying readers, writers, and arithmetic fans in their quest for knowledge. The entry sponsored by the Chrysler Corporation. This float celebrates human love of learning from the Stone Age to the Space Age. Quest for knowledge, there you see it. The mythical beast is covered with chrysanthemums, thousands and thousands of them, and his mane and tail are accented with 2 varieties of orchids. You mentioned representing the Pac-10 Conference in today's 75th Rose Bowl Classic. Need we mention the University of Southern California Trojans? USC is here for an unprecedented 26th time, and there you see Tommy Trojan, the mascot for the Trojans. Imagine way back in 1923 was the last. USC was here just a year ago, as a matter of fact.
That's right. Yeah.
And they won against, dare we say it, Michigan State.
That's right. So now they want to wipe up the other half of the state of Michigan. When their band and their float went by here. But here it is. Now it's the Trojans' turn to sound off. The big band from the University of Southern California with Dr. Arthur Bartner directing is coming down Colorado Boulevard. Mary?
Well, we have such a perfect bird's eye view from up above. We're about 40 feet above ground level. Here comes the USC band, and it's so funny when these bands come by, and depending on which group of fans you have, you can literally feel our entire stand shake.
270 Trojan musicians out there.
Here they go. Will you notice the Wolverine fans across the street are clapping right along with the USC band? How's that for spirit?
But you're right, our broadcast tower here was vibrating a little bit. I could feel it rocking because of the rhythmic moving of the people in the stands who are Trojan fans.
Now, I don't want to sound biased, but USC has won 19 out of its 26 Rose Bowl games, so the odds are certainly in their favor today.
Yeah, Larry Smith, the USC coach, was an assistant coach to Bo Schembechler, who's coaching Michigan again this year.
Oh, sure. One of the great coaches of all time. Well, it certainly wouldn't be difficult to follow the USC Marching Trojan Band. Appreciating this next entry is about as easy as, shall we say, taking a walk in the park. That's exactly what it's doing. The City of Los Angeles Parks and Recreation Department has brought a little piece of the parks right to us here in Pasadena. Sharing a centennial with the Rose Parade, the float takes a leisurely stroll through the landmarks of Los Angeles' city parks.
Yeah, the stately domes that you see at the back of the float, that's the Griffith Park Observatory, perched above the LA Zoo, and the Rose Garden that's located down in Exposition Park. And the large bird of paradise, the official Los Angeles flower, sculpted from gladiola, iris, and bird of paradise petals.
And look at the koalas in the center on top. They're coated with Ming moss, statice, and yuva grass. And if they aren't just about the cutest animals around, I don't know what it is about koala bears, but they're wonderful.
Really cuddly. Mounted on quarter horses wearing Army blue and gold, this is Cavalry B Troop from Fort Huachuca, Arizona, saluting the heritage and tradition of the Army in the Southwest. You're watching the Centennial Tournament of Roses Parade live from Pasadena.
Oh boy, look at this next one. It's making me dizzy to watch. The arrival of barnstorming pilots is a special event for the country folks who live in this turn-of-the-century farm. Oh. And these daring aviators are putting on quite a show for everybody here today. And for those of you at home watching, barnstorming is the appropriate name of this entry from Arco.
We the people may be the most famous fighting words ever written. And that sacred phrase is brought to life in this entry called Celebrating a Tradition of Trust. This is the first Rose Parade entry from Merrill Lynch and Company. America's, should I say, bullish stand on democracy is symbolized by the Constitution, the Liberty Bell, and a fife and drum corps, playing their part in the quest for independence. And that famous trio there is dressed in silver leaf, statice, tree bark, and carnation petals. The Liberty Bell is plated with straw flowers, marigolds, and chrysanthemums. The music you hear is a recording of the Freedom High School Marching Band. You'll see them in just a moment. It's a rousing reminder that the entertainment is not the only thing that's free here today.
Lots of cheers for this band. From the Christmas town of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, we see the Freedom High School Patriot Band. Playing tunes from the 1770s, the fife and drum corps leads the way for the rest of the band, who are playing more contemporary tunes. It is their third Rose Parade appearance. Don't they sound sharp today? I guess you shouldn't say that of a band. They can look sharp, but they can't sound sharp. Make them off
Beyond
pitch.
key. David Plaster sharp.
this year. The Harmony of Nature's Network, brought to us by the General Telephone Company of California and winner of the Isabella Coleman Trophy. Enjoying this in 3D, those of you in Los Angeles, San Diego, Washington, and we know that nothing is diminished for those of you who don't have your 3D glasses. Happy New Year, everybody. The question is, what came first, the chicken or the egg? That's the question that the City of Duarte and the City of Hope National Center are asking with this float, a celebration of new life.
Favorite things about the Rose Parade is the chance to see and hear some of our country's finest marching bands. Here's one of the best from Carrollton, Georgia. It's the Carrollton High School Marching Trojan Band under the direction of Donald T. Hall. For the last 10 years, this 195-member group has placed first in class in all marching events in which they participated. Take a listen, you'll understand why.
I've wanted to say this for so long. Why don't you and I make some waves?
Together with you, I'd love it.
That is with the other Marine Corps as we see Let's Make Waves coming down the street. This troop from SeaWorld celebrating 25 years of bringing up a beautiful subject. This seaworthy entry, sponsored by SeaWorld, is titled Jump for Joy, and it enlists the underwater aid of some friendly denizens of the deep.
And by the way, this won for them the special trophy award given to a unique float that failed to win in some particular category. That striking black and white of the killer whale is achieved with black seaweed, white chrysanthemums. The sea is overflowing with orchids, and the coral reefs are splashed with pink, orange, lavender, and yellow roses. Now, this is one of the tallest floats in this year's parade, and the killer whale must be lowered by hydraulic valves to make its way under bridges and telephone lines. But hey, when it comes to celebrating SeaWorld and its high ideals, this float really rises to the occasion. I didn't say that, did I?
Bill, I think you did. Or I'm hearing voices. The American Indian Group is led by Iron Eyes Cody, best known as the Tearful Indian you'll recognize from our Keep America Beautiful campaign. A terrific example of what one person can do to keep a nation great.
We hope you're enjoying the 100th Annual Tournament of Roses Parade live from Pasadena.
Well, the Singapore Tourist Promotion Board has done it again. This spectacular float, actually looking, well, maybe a little bit nasty. From the Orient, he stands for goodness and nobility, actually. You know, 1988 was the year of the dragon, and Singapore Airlines celebrates in a huge way with their 7th Rose Parade entry. At the front of the float there, holding the pearl, the dragon represents birth, death, and rebirth. Actually, the pearl does. It's believed that those who are born in the year of the dragon are destined to accomplish great things in life. What about the rest of us?
Yeah, me, I missed it by a few years.
The dragon's head and body are decorated with anthurium, pampas grass, lunaria, orchids, and seaweed. Look at that face with the smoke coming out of his nostrils, moving up and down as he goes along.
Well, here's an old hand at waving. His 55th consecutive year of the Tournament of Roses, Monty Montana, his famous matched pinto ponies. Posse includes his wife Marilee, Trudy Young, and Miss Rodeo 1988. Monty's lassoed some famous people, such as President Eisenhower. I even got lassoed by him one year when I was standing down on the curb announcing this parade.
What year was it, Bill?
That was a year sometime after 48. That I can't remember. But anyway, when he lassoed President Eisenhower, that was at the inaugural parade in 1952, the Secret Service went out of their minds, as you can imagine.
Oh, my word.
Right.
The Oddfellows and Rebecca's present their float, 100 Years of Floral Excellence. Certainly summing up the history of the Rose Parade today. The two doves are feathered with a mixture of white chrysanthemums and carnations.
Well, I'm sitting next to the bride of South Dakota, and here's the bride of North Dakota. North Dakota joins our list of centennial celebrations taking place this year. This North Dakota High School Centennial Band features band members from across the state. John Dorn and Dale Koppelman lead their group down Colorado Boulevard.
Even though I am from South Dakota, Dakota. It's great to see North Dakota represented here today.
Gee, I didn't know there were that many musicians in North Dakota.
Oh, come on. And sharing this 100th birthday with the Rose Parade, the great state of North Dakota has sent this wagon train west to whip up a little old-fashioned excitement. Riding aboard the covered wagon, we have the governor of North Dakota, George Sinner. He's part of the West River Wagon Teamsters.
Nearly 250 pounds of poppy, millet, flax, and onion seed. The kitten's fur, if you're wondering, is created with chrysanthemums and pampas grass. And hey, get a load of that rascally rodent who seems to have gotten his paws on somebody's dentures.
Let's hear it for the girls who make up the Swirling Sands Mounted Drill Team. Since they got together in 1983, these women have been rather busy. Recently, they made their television debut in prime time on Murder, She Wrote. You having a hard time waking up? Well, you're not the only one who just got up. These rambunctious, I guess we could call them, bears have come out of hibernation to have a backwoods New Year's bash. But from the looks of it, they should have slept in. I think we have some problems here. This float is from the Burbank Tournament of Roses Association, and it's called An Unforgettable Picnic, featuring a family having fun with the bare necessities.
Right, and this is the 384 members of the Duncanville High School Band. Duncanville, a suburb of Dallas, the Big D, which may explain why this band is so darn big.
Hi, my name is John Langridge. I'm a member of the Duncanville High School Marching Band, and I would just like to say Happy New Year to all my friends back in Duncanville.
You hear them cheering, Polly, Polly. Well, this little girl has her own ideas of what a parade should be, and I say she's just about right. Paradin' Around is Cal Poly University's 41st Rose Parade float. And as always, they amaze us with their innovations, and you can hear the cheers going up. Those are the Cal Poly students standing and cheering for their float. They've all spent hundreds and hundreds of hours making this float work and decorating.
The front half was built up in San Luis Obispo, and the back half, the cart with the animals, it was made at the Pomona campus of California Polytechnic Institute.
And there is actually what's driving this and making all of the animation work is a computer the size of a toaster oven. That is the brain, so to speak.
Hardly possible. It's a unique entry from the city of St. Louis that celebrates both sides of a century past with two separate carriages. Now you're looking, you saw first the lead carriage, an accurate replica of an entry 100 years ago. 20th century rolls in behind a team of those world-famous Clydesdales. The 1890s carriage, by the way, was heaped with huckleberry, ivy, and roses.
And the modern carriage, which you're looking at, is covered with gorgeous chrysanthemums, carnations, and lots of orchids and roses, of course.
Represented for the past 24 years. Again, here are the Fetterman and Tanner equestrian groups. They're riding beautiful Appaloosas, known for the white areas that cover the horse's hips, which are called blankets. We hope you're enjoying the 100th annual Tournament of Roses Parade live from Pasadena.
It's a great place to celebrate, according to the people from Glendale, California nearby, who put together this wonderful parade entry. You see their giant carousel horses flanking children at play. This is actually Glendale's 68th Tournament of Roses entry. Chrysanthemums and carnations cover the roller coaster in between.
Plaid and plaid. Here come the Ontario Massed Legion Pipes and Drums. This is a traditional Scottish pipe and drum corps from Ontario, Canada. Well, I could say they've taken high roads and low roads around the world. Let's listen to what they have to say today.
Now, this is what I call the Wild West, Bill.
Yeehaw!
Hey, pretty good. Casablanca Fan Company presents this float called Americans Rootin' and a Tootin'. Give me another one.
Yeehaw! This is a lively mining town. You'll notice that some of the more daring residents are skiing down rooftops and hot dogging it all the way through Pasadena.
A sunny, fairly warm morning here, and there he goes. Ski jumping.
Hey, how about that performance?
Much to the pleasure of the crowd. Here's another one.
Another one.
Woo!
Look at this.
All the way down through
We got
the float.
another one coming. I have never seen. This is wilder than the guy that was shot out of the cannon
Here
a
he
few
goes.
years ago.
He's whipping
Here he
the crowd
goes.
into a frenzy.
Can you do that, Mary? You can stop that float. I want Mary Hart to go out and ski down that.
I can't do it on purpose. I can do that accidentally. Here comes one more,
Oh,
Bill.
boy.
There he goes. Oh, doing a complete flip on skis in the air while that float is moving down Colorado Boulevard at 5 miles an hour. These guys must be crazy. Behind the skiers, 3 generations of the Stewart Hamblin family ride side by side on their smooth gated Peruvian Pasos. Stuart and Susie have been riding in this parade with their children and grandchildren since 1979. You're watching the centennial celebration of the Tournament of Roses Parade live from Pasadena.
Well, here comes King Arthur's hottest subject, a stupendous study in the importance of learning. The fire-breathing friend of Merlin the Magician is getting his diploma from Camelot High. This float's entitled Education is the Solution, and it's a whopper from the Burger King Corporation. Hey, from across the country now to the High Chaparral, a Western group led by Marshal Linda Baum. Most of the members right here in California. One, though, came from Colorado Springs.
And what you're seeing right now is the tallest show on Earth from Carnation. This fanciful float features a roller skating, if you can imagine a roller skating giraffe, all decorated with marigolds and chrysanthemums. And you know, there's a daring troupe of live acrobats performing from high atop the 70-foot gentle giant and all along the float. There you see some of them, but you know what? The bravest one is the gal right there on top, 70 feet in the air, performing.
We got some clowns that are going to do some kind of a dipsy-doodle thing there. They won the Mayor's Trophy, presented the float team to express the most originality in design and floor of traditional Spanish charro costume and saddles, the Martinez family. Marshal is Benny Martinez Jr., his father's there with him, Benny Sr., his brother Octavio, and his sister Irma. And we hope you're enjoying the 100th Annual Tournament of Roses Parade live from Pasadena.
Boy, I could use something fresh out of the oven, Bill, right now. And we have it from the Bakery, Confectionery, and Tobacco Workers Union, wishing us all a happy anniversary Tournament of Roses. The bakers are dressed in gladiola petals and silver leaf, and I'm ready with my sweet tooth.
Hey, the Arcadia High School Apache Marching Band is no stranger to the tournament. This is their 5th appearance. They're under the direction of Tom Landis. The California group holds Tom honors. Recently, by the way, they played for the Duke and Duchess of York.
Happy days are here again, leading into 1989. Well, you talk about big plans, it's going to be hard to top this one. Thanks and a tip of the hat to the Arcadia Tournament of Roses Association for this just glorious salute to Happy New Year. A top hat, as you see, white gloves, a cane, and champagne. Send a toast and salutations to everybody who's made the Rose Parade America's biggest New Year's party.
Protecting and preserving our national parks, members of the National Park Service Equestrian Group here, representing today the Santa Monica Mountains recreational area to the west of us, and of course other national parks. These mounted rangers assist in crowd control and search and rescue operations.
And our next entry has won the Anniversary Trophy, recognizing the entry best depicting life in the United States. It's from the General Motors Corporation and United Auto Workers, celebrating a century of transportation, Bill.
There you see those jet aircraft zoom out past us. They're leading the way for 3 milestones in technology and transportation. A space station depicting the age of flight, a giant gear, which is symbolic of the Industrial Revolution, and a wagon wheel used by early settlers who settled this country.
It really is a technical marvel. It's called Teamwork and Technology, indicative of the fact that thousands of General Motors employees and union members work together to bring this wonderful float to us here today in Pasadena, celebrating 100 years of the Rose Parade.
Hey, watch this one now. Some young bowlers are about to strike out on their own. The entry is called Let the Good Times Roll. It's sponsored by Dr. Pepper and 7-Up. There goes the bowling ball. And I think the young man is going to rack up another strike as it makes
How do you
contact.
know, Bill? How do you know?
I have a hunch. Look at that. There go all of the pins. This is a tribute to the 7-10 split, by the way.
Across the Pacific, it's the 216 members of the Kamehameha Warrior Marching Band from Honolulu, Hawaii, wearing uniforms modeled after those worn by the Iolani Palace Guard. Hoping those bowling pins aren't going to drop off into the street ahead of them.
Aloha, I'm Tim Ho.
And I'm Suzanne Ho'ohui.
And we're from the Kamehameha School's Warrior Marching Band and Color Guard in Kapalama Heights, Oahu.
And we'd like to wish you a very happy new year.
We have 1 million people in the streets here, many of whom are from all across the United States and glad to be in the warm weather, and these kids from Hawaii are probably freezing.
Yeah, it was one of our cooler mornings here. We got down to the mid-30s. But it's warming up on a bright sunny day. Going to be a great afternoon for the Rose Bowl game with Michigan against Southern California. Well, the nostalgia of a housewarming party in the late 1800s is depicted in Home Savings of America's first Tournament of Roses entry called Holiday Housewarming. Family and friends gather to celebrate while horse-drawn carriages dash through the snow, even though it's warming up in Pasadena. Well, saddle up for a ride with this Western equestrian group. They're led by Marshal D.O. Rogers on his Appaloosa Hank's Rebel. These horsemen come from as far away as Bayside, New York, to participate in, should I say, the unbridled excitement of the Rose Parade?
You should.
All right.
But you should say Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year from Southern California. You're watching the 100th Annual Tournament of Roses Parade live from Pasadena.
This King of Beasts brings a roaring celebration to the 100th Tournament of Roses from the Animal Kingdom, as well as from the International House of Pancakes. That wonderful mane is made of roses and spices, and his body is all covered with straw flowers, chrysanthemums, and seaweed. And of course, this float from IHOP is the winner of the the winner of the Princess's Trophy, and that particular award is reserved for floats 35 feet in length and
under. The rest of the United States Marshals posse makes its way down Colorado Boulevard in official U.S. Marshals uniform.
And here's your own invitation to join the Culture Club. Orchestrated by First Interstate Banks, the theme of this beautiful entry is called Let the Celebration Begin. You know, this float is actually divided into 3 different sections devoted to the first one, drama and dance, the center section, the Los Angeles Philharmonic, and the rear section, the Los Angeles Master Chorale.
It's 85 feet long, which means it cannot qualify for an award because they can't be over 55 feet in length. The United States Marine Corps Marching Band, a favorite Rose Parade audience for 40 years. They're from Marine Corps bands in San Diego, Camp Pendleton, El Toro.
And right behind the Marine Corps Band, the Golden State Foods entry, Here Comes the Circus. Boy, that one's self-explanatory. Oh, well, I can't say that one, Bill.
I thought it was good.
It's taking my words right out of my mouth because it's so colorful and fun to look at. Pure pachyderm power pulling these 10 circus wagons loaded with animals and 10 kids who've overcome cancer and other serious illnesses. The elephants and the blankets are woven with chrysanthemums, straw flowers, carnations, and orchid petals. And you can see the beautiful sprays of orchids cascading from the tops of the wagons. Wait a minute. Is that really Superman? You know, this is one of the funny phenomenon of our time. Yeah. We have crowds below us because Superman is sort of in a stalled pattern right there.
Yeah.
Giving Budweiser a great commercial. Down Colorado Boulevard, and right behind him, representing the state of Washington in its centennial year, is the Auburn High School Marching Trojan Band.
Right. Let's listen and play a specially composed piece of music entitled The Washington Centennial March. Oh, yeah, the bands are, for one thing, the bands are bigger, they're better, the floats are far more elaborate than anything we even dreamed of. Of course, through the years, the use of plastics and lightweight metals and engineering ideas have all been able to make the floats, really, as I say, they look like they float.
Actually,
down the boulevard.
One of the best stories, and Bill Welsh, you really have been doing this for 42 consecutive years, which is amazing, but one of the funniest stories is hearing how you just about got speared one day. Why don't you tell people about it?
Oh, yeah, I was standing at ground level on the sidewalk with a fence around me, so I was sort of in a little cage open on one side toward the parade. Here came a Union Oil Company float like a ship with a big bowsprit sticking out in front. And it's trying to make the right turn. I'm on the northeast corner in Colorado and Orange Grove. And what do you know? It isn't going to make the turn. And the men in white suits are shouting, "Stop, stop, stop." And then nobody's hearing them inside the float. It keeps on coming. And I think, hey, I'm going to be the world's biggest shish kebab. Except the crowd, like the crowd is shouting now, begins to holler, "Stop, stop, stop, stop." And it's obviously stopped because I'm here with you today, Mary.
Thank goodness you are. Well, we say Happy New Year from both.
Well, this is the 100th Tournament of Roses Parade in Pasadena, California, on a wonderful California day. But this is a first for these ladies. This is the Sacramento Ladies Mounted Patrol. Most of them, by the way, are reserve sheriff's deputies. And they get out there on horseback and assist in search and rescue efforts. And this is their first trip to the Rose Parade. So it's got to be exciting for them to have an opportunity to ride down the street.
Now a
today.
huge band. It can't be McBeat, as a matter of fact. 104 strong from every state in the Union. This is the McDonald's All-American High School Band.
Do you think we should listen to them? They're picked by directors of music in each of the states. Underneath their overlays, you'll notice that each wear the uniform of their particular band. And we got a first here because this is the first time ever we've had a lady as the drum majorette. It's Randy Patton. And the first time in 22 years, one of them's done that. Anyway, because these are wonderful young musicians, let's...
If you see these gentlemen right here on your screen in white suits, they are literally called white suiters, and they are members of the 875 volunteer organization here in Pasadena who literally organize and conduct this parade every single year. John Bigger, the president of the association, has been one of those for years and years, and these people volunteer their time every year and put in hundreds of hours of work to make this parade work.
Did you see that one guy helping this float, the FTD float, get around the corner? Where was he when I needed him? The boat was coming after me.
By the way, we have to congratulate FTD. They're winners of the President's Trophy.
For the most effective overall floral presentation. Well, it's appropriate that FTD would be the ones to win that. It's been a century in the making, they're saying. This float is called 100 Years of Flowers on Parade. It has its roots in the first flower-covered carriages that rolled down Colorado Boulevard in 1890. The gardens are overflowing with over 45,000 roses, as well as iris, daisies, and orchids.